Welcome back to Gleeboot, the show where we rewatch Glee and then unpack the trauma for a listening audience.
Gleeboot.
Accurate.
Yeah, this episode we are reviewing Glee Season 1, episode, I believe, 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, episode 20, Theatricality, an episode I've been dreading since we started this podcast.
Oh my god, so interesting. I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, there's just a lot to unpack this week.
So much. But honestly,
yeah.
I don't have a lot of notes, so I'm going to be unpacking impromptu.
I never have a lot of notes, as everyone knows. But I want everyone to know that I watched this episode and I was not feeling good today, and I'm still not feeling good, but maybe the white wine will help?
Ooh.
Maybe?
That's some nice, like, medieval medicine.
Yeah.
I'm drinking red. I'm also pretty sure that I have an ear infection and have had it for like 3 weeks and have done nothing about it. So
Hannah!
I mean,
go to the doctor!
That's
like
health
my
insurance.
head is clogged, and then, but like nothing really hurts. So I don't know.
Well, it's probably not an ear infection then, because
maybe
ear infections hurt like.
Yeah, I think it's like congestion, but it's also in my like right ear. I don't know. I'll go when it starts to hurt. That's my solution.
Drink a lot of tea.
Okay. I'm also
just like
drinking wine. Is that the same thing?
Yeah. I'm drinking red wine as well. Alyssa's got a white.
Chardonnay.
Yeah, Chardonnay all day.
What are you drinking,
Cullen? The red wine that one of my coworkers gave me as a holiday present. It is Le Fance Fance. It's a 2017 vintage.
Wow. Mine is a Chianti. It's a 2017 Ruffino. And it is delicioso.
Delicioso. Chef's kiss. Mwah. Salt Bay. All right. So should we... before we start... I turned my head away from the mic. Before we start, I wanted to shout out one of our 5-star reviews. And I feel like every time we get a 5-star review, we should shout it out on the air.
We're finally going to start doing
it out loud.
Shout it out loud, yes.
Nailed it.
Oh boy.
So this 5-star...
like, I am not looking forward to this.
This 5-star review is from the other Josh, and it says, a refreshing slushie to the face. The #1 podcast on Glee in the world. Cullen is a wizard with words.
Well done, you, Cullen.
Yeah, really.
But we're all a refreshing slushie to the face together.
Thanks for the clarification.
Thanks, other Josh. But legitimately, thank you. We really appreciate that.
Yes, definitely.
That's some fun feedback. It's also a great nod to, obviously, one of the big motifs of the show is slushies in the face, which we haven't seen in a few episodes. So it was a good reminder that exists.
That exists, and that's what makes Glee Glee.
Will it come back? Is that going to be a thing that comes back?
Yeah, it's incorporated into a musical number, I believe, at one point.
Wow, spoilers.
Interesting.
I remember that.
Well, be excited.
I'll try.
So, let's get into this episode. There's 3 main storylines. There's the Tina storyline / the Glee Club is doing Gaga. There's a Furt storyline, Finn and Kurt. Also realizing that if there's a Finn and Artie ship, their nickname would be Farty.
Amazing.
Wow.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. This is why I'm a wizard with words. And then the third storyline is Rachel finding her mother, Adele Dazeem. Also from Frozen and Frozen 2 and Olaf's Frozen Adventure.
Oh Lord.
Was
Frozen Fever.
Let's move on.
Was that the short that came before Coco that I never got to see because they took it out of the theatrical version of Coco, so no one else had to suffer through it?
I watched on
Yes.
Christmas Eve this year and cried.
Are you
I
kidding
hate
me?
you.
I love that short. It's so good.
It is
still
not
haven't
good
seen
enough
it.
to cry at.
Well, one of us did not spend Christmas with their immediate family this year.
Oh.
I will probably cut that. Or I won't. I'll just let people know. Yeah. Shout out to my family in San Diego that I actually did have a very wonderful Christmas with.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. I was figuring we'd do like a shit sandwich, and we'd start with the Tina storyline, we'd do the Finn and Kurt stuff in the middle, and we'd end with Rachel.
Okay. I mean, I was interested what part you thought was the shit. I think it's all pretty bad, but
So this episode opens with the world's best principal, Principal Figgins, and he is telling Tina that she can't wear her goth clothing, which goth was already kind of out by 2009. But he's telling her she can't wear her goth clothing because she's a vampire, or it encourages vampire culture. And there was a recent incident where Twilight fans vampire bit a kid, Jacob Ben Israel, the creepy fro kid, to get Robert Pattinson's attention. I was like, yeah, could you pick a less sympathetic victim? And which they probably did intentionally, so it would be funny. I don't think it was that funny, but okay, it happened.
I think the reference to Twilight is what made me be like, oof, like this is old. This has not aged well. Twilight fever, I think Figgins called it, and I'm like, sure.
And there's this joke that Figgins thinks vampires are real, and Will's all like, vampires aren't real. And I'm like, Will, who are you to tell the world what's real and what's not real? You know nothing but vests.
Okay, can we just talk about for a second?
Yeah.
Like, yes, he knows nothing but vests. And at the same time, he's the one that is Tina's voice in this conversation.
Right? I'm like, why
I was
are
so
you
mad.
here too? Like, he's
why is he there?
Him to be there.
No, that's weird.
Like,
they didn't want to cast her parents.
Or that's too many Asians in the show. Or they just they needed some reason to be alone with Tina at one point. Like, she's not a major enough character to have her really stand on her own, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but he's like, this is how Tina expresses herself, because Tina is shy. And
I hated it so much.
I remember this episode from my childhood, from seeing it on. So this episode has haunted me for a long period of time. I remember that, and I just remember, I'm just like, you know what? I don't really think vampires are real, but you know what? Maybe they could be. And if Will Schuester thinks they're not real, I think they're real.
You're just here to argue because Shu's there.
She's there, and vampires are one of my biggest fears.
Really?
That's so interesting. I just talked to a friend from high school who was like, yeah, I'm kind of really freaked out by mummies. And I was like, this is crazy. I didn't realize that was a legitimate fear that people still had. But yeah.
Because vampires don't just kill you. They turn you into a vampire.
Not always. Sometimes they do just kill you.
That is true.
See, but so if you just die, then you're dead. You either your life is over or you move on to the afterlife. But if a vampire
there is that, crippling fear of them literally sucking your blood out of your bloodstream, and you're dying slowly, and then
and
you
becoming
still are conscious.
Yeah, and you become an undead.
Or you
become an undead monstrosity that haunts your loved ones.
And depending on the lore, it could be either really painful. Sometimes you have to be buried underground and you then wake up in a coffin. It depends on the lore. But yeah, there's a lot of traumatizing things that could happen. And I think that's the end of our Twilight vampire segment here on Gleeboot.
As much as I'm...
That was not Twilight lore. Come on. Vampires sparkle.
She was in so much pain when she changed, because it's literally the most painful experience.
I I'm just gonna.
But then you sparkle.
And then you sparkle. I'm gonna pour one out for Stephanie Meyer because
Let's not.
if it wasn't for her, no one would know how to say my name.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay, there we
valid.
go. There we go.
Cheers to Stephanie Meyer.
Here's to Stephanie Meyer
Cheers.
for saving me from a lifetime of being called Colon.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that's what's going on with Tina. So Tina can't wear her goth clothes anymore because he's creating a dress code that he says studies show is helpful, but he's only enforcing it on one student.
But he doesn't even enforce the dress code. He's just like, this is one segment of clothing you can't wear.
One style. Like
it's not a dress code. It's his personal preference.
Yeah, Figgins is great.
Which is discrimination, by the way.
It literally is
yes, it is.
discrimination.
Figgins is continuing to be the worst.
And then, so Tina shows up in just like gray sweatpants and a gray sweatshirt, just like
no makeup, no nothing.
like a sim, a freshly born sim. And she sits there, and they're like, Tina needs a new look. Speaking of discrimination, the look Mercedes suggests is hood rat.
And then the one that Quinn suggests is computer programmer. And I'm like, what
I do
is
kind of, that's a
happening?
funny suggestion, computer programmer.
Catholic girl, I think, was my favorite.
When Puck suggested Catholic schoolgirl.
Yes.
Oh,
But the funniest part
I'm
of that suggestion was that Tina's face, like, looked excited.
She's like, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe
Oh my
I'll do
God, I
Catholic
missed
schoolgirl.
that.
It's gothic adjacent.
Yeah.
Is it?
They both involve knee socks. I feel like a lot of gothic people wear like knee socks.
Tina definitely did.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're learning so much about style this episode. Computer programmer is my new style choice. Thanks, Quinn. Thanks, Quinnifer. That's her full name. That's what she'll be called in the Gleeboot, so we don't get Finn and Quinn confused. Be Finn and Quinnifer.
Or maybe we'll go with a different name. But never mind.
So, Rachel storms in and is like, so I've been spying on Vocal Adrenaline. And they're like, isn't that against the rules? And she's like, probably. And they bought a bunch of like red fabric, and she like went to the store. Chantilly lace. And she went to the store and like asked around about it, and she realized that they're doing Gaga, as they call her.
Well, they also bought a bunch of Christmas lights, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the part I remember.
Christmas lights, and then she's like, then I went to the fabric store, and they were all out of red Chantilly lace. And then I was
Which I'm like,
what?
Are they doing Santa Baby?
I understood the lace part. I still don't understand the Christmas lights part.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll never know.
Maybe we'll never know, because this episode has been on since 2010 and it's still mystifying us. So she's like, they're doing Gaga, and Will is like, that's a great way to help Tina find a new look and to, express our theatricality. And Kurt's all like, I love Gaga. And Puck is like, who is he? Because he's apparently the one person in the world who didn't know who Lady Gaga was.
Which is... So, okay, thinking about when was this episode? 2010, right?
Yeah.
I know there were definitely people who didn't know who she was, but, like, the fact that he knows of her enough, but also says that, like, she's a dude, it kind of just felt, like, really stupid. I was like, either you don't absolutely know who she is, or, like, you know that she's a woman who dresses crazy and does pop music.
Yeah, Just
like,
Dance was pretty big.
Yeah, like, you get her gist, or either you've never heard of her.
They played that at my Midwestern high school dances. Just so, like, a Midwestern kid would know.
They definitely did.
A Midwestern kid would know who Lady Gaga is. So then they decide to do Gaga, and Finn is uncomfortable with it. He comes to talk to Shu about it and is all like me and all the guys except Kurt, like, don't want to do Gaga. And I feel like we always do what the girls want to do. And
then she was immediately like, yeah, you know what? We're right. We do. And I'm like, I'm sorry. What?
is this
Like,
because of Madonna week?
No, literally, didn't they already do this? They already had this plotline where, like...
They didn't want to do Madonna.
Yes,
Yeah, and
exactly.
she was like... And then they were like, you should listen to the boys more.
They
this
didn't say
happened
that.
already. I thought that happened.
No, I don't think they said listen to the
episode-
boys more.
Yeah, that episode was about, like...
Feminism. It invented it.
I thought there was, like, a part of a different episode that was, like... They should listen to... Or she should listen to the boys, or the boys didn't have, like... a strong enough voice or something.
I think it was the other way around. Like, the Madonna episode at least was the boys were like, we don't want to do Madonna, and they were like treating the girls like crap, and then they did that song.
I don't know, guys. You know my memory is like in shambles. So the fact that I even feel like something happened, it may or may not have.
Yeah, and it has a lot of very similarities, because that's the thing is, like, when he was doing that whole segment with Shu, I was like, haven't we been here before? This feels very, like, very similar.
It felt similar, and I feel like they didn't listen to the girls over the boys enough for that to be like a beat that rings true. It's like, okay, so we did Madonna one week.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So he's like, well, what's your solution? And Finn has one. The girls Kurt appear in their dramatic Lady Gaga outfits, and they're bullied by Krosky and this other dude.
I don't know what that guy's name is.
He's in it a lot.
Yeah.
I don't even know what either of their names are.
Krosky is he's like becomes like a part of the show. That's the only reason why I know his name. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is he the white guy or the black guy?
The white guy.
The white guy. Okay.
Yeah. So they are being bullied because Tina's like, even though I love wearing champagne bubbles, it shows a different side of my personality. Because even though I'm painfully shy and obsessed with death, I have a really effervescent personality. I like that line. And so then they're pushed around, and Kurt is all like, you can push me around, but don't push around a girl. And they're all like, we can't tell the difference. And but it was legitimately scary. Like,
yeah, it was scary. Although that particular line felt to me as like, like old.
Yeah. They wouldn't say that if the show came out now.
Really old. Like, don't push around a girl. That's really old. Sorry, I can't get off the...
It is, but if I was in that situation, I might say something like that just because it would panic me. If someone was pushing around like someone as small and fragile as Tina. Because she's tiny.
Like,
to be fair, though,
I was afraid she was going to get
she's
popped.
tiny, but Kurt's like about the same size as Tina.
Yeah.
He's teeny.
They're both tiny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess we've just seen Kurt pushed around a lot more for comedy, which is unfortunate. That's Glee for you.
Yeah.
But like Tina, it felt very like visceral and shocking.
Well, she's like literally slammed into the locker, so yes.
Yeah. And so they decide to like they leave. They're gonna leave, and he's all like, don't want to be late to your appointment at Supercuts. And he's like, that's a great thing about Supercuts. You don't need an appointment. And they act like it was the biggest burn of all time.
He's like, they love walk-ins. I was like, oh, good one, Karofsky.
Yeah, it was such a good, like, that was a good joke though. Not like, oh, he's funny, but like a joke about like their dumb comeback.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of like, this is in some ways peak Glee because there's a lot to like and a lot to make you roll in your grave that you're not even dead yet in. Yeah, so then they all show up to sing Bad Romance in their costumes, and I remember this has always bothered me.
Well, the girls
and Kurt. Quinn is in need of money, right? that's like a plot point, is that she's a teen mom with a baby and she needs help with medical bills.
Right.
Where does she get this costume?
This is a problem that I had for all of these high school students.
Yes.
None of you would never ever be able to scrounge up a costume that quickly without insane amounts of money.
I will take it another step further. If the Glee Club and the school is so fucking poor, where are they getting these stage sets? And where are they getting all the fucking MacBooks? Because Shu still has a MacBook. Like, all of these things are so escalated, and I'm like, yeah, no, like, I totally get it. It's a musical. But then I'm like, why are you guys complaining about money? Somebody has it somewhere. All I have to say is that my look was amazing. I loved Santana's look. I looked so good.
You did look great.
I had a bow.
I think hers was my favorite.
I know, it was like a present bow on top of her head, and she was wearing an all lace bodysuit, and I was like, yes.
Gonna be completely honest here. If I was in this Glee club, there is no way I would have wanted to do Lady Gaga. Yeah, absolutely none. Love her music, hate her style. I would have been with the boys on this one, and I'm surprised that they did the classic girl-boy thing, because...
Yeah. You're surprised Glee was a little
okay, I'm
traditional?
Not surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, she's not mad. She's just disappointed.
Disappointed.
Because there are some girls who I think would never have done that. Like, for instance, I love Tina's line about her personality being effervescent, but
I don't think she would have been comfortable wearing... No. I don't think she's actually comfortable wearing bubbles. Like, that's actually kind of see-through-ish. Like, I can't imagine...
It was very strange for her.
Yeah, I can't imagine she was actually that comfortable with. Like, it didn't really fit.
I could see her in one of the boys' costumes, though.
Yeah, Feminism. For sure. Like, she could have done Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
I feel there was Mike Chang. So, like, after their number, he was, like, really cheering. He was, like, one of the only boys actually cheering. I feel like Mike Chang would have loved to do Gaga.
He would have.
I could see that, yeah.
Brittany had a great line because, so Kurt was all like, Lady Gaga changes looks faster than Brit changes sexual partners. And Brit's just like, true. But was it when they were listing looks? Was she the one who was like, sand?
I think so, what? Yeah.
Yeah, she had a couple. I should have written them down.
I know. That whole sequence was going by so fast, but I was loving every second of it because they were all saying such weird things, and I was here for it.
Yeah, Brittany said something like sand, a chicken, or something like that. Like, she had a couple, I
don't remember this at all.
Brittany's just really funny, guys. Because before they sing Bad Romance, Rachel comes in with a costume made of Beanie Babies stapled together.
This was the only realistic high school costume.
Yeah. And she's all like, oh, my dads can't sew, so they stapled this together. And Brittany is in this metallic lobster, and she's all like, you look bad. I look awesome.
Yeah.
I do remember that line.
So this kind of goes into the Rachel plot line, but I'll just quickly say it here. They're supposed to make me believe that just because her dads don't know how to sew, that Rachel doesn't know how to sew herself, that, like, she wouldn't immediately be able to do it herself. Like, she's so driven and talented and ambitious. Like, of course she knows how to sew. So I didn't believe that at all.
Well, I could see, like, if she always spent her time doing other things, like not practicing sewing, that she wouldn't know how to sew. But I don't see her just giving up, like, she would have gone to a seamstress or something. Right. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. So she would have done something else. Like, she would have put more effort into it other than stapling Beanie Babies together. And then one of them jumped off, and Kurt's like, we have a jumper. And I'm like, okay, I get it. That's fine.
There are some good one-liners this week. They sing Bad Romance, which I got in trouble for playing at a school dance once.
I mean...
Not the Glee version, but the legit version.
I mean valid. It's a naughty song.
It's naughty.
I mean, they do say vertical stick. And they didn't even put the, like, I think she says like shtick or something like that. I don't know. Like she says it kind of weird in the song. But they literally say vertical stick, and I'm like, okay, all right, that's what we're talking about on Glee.
Glee.
Nailed it.
No. So they sing Bad Romance, and yeah, Mike Chang's super into it. And then the boys do Kiss.
Okay, wait a second. So during this Lady Gaga number, I will just say I did not really like it at all. But I couldn't tell if it was the camera work or if my video was buffering. But
it must have been the camera work because there was weird slow-mo, and I thought my video was buffering.
I was like, this is really weird. I hate this. And I was like, no, it keeps happening. I think it's the camera work. So
I don't remember seeing that.
Oh,
so
God.
maybe it was the video buffer. Because you watched yours on the computer, right?
Yeah.
I watched mine on the TV. So
I watched mine on the TV. It
might have been the video. Oh, I don't remember.
Like, it was like brief, like flashes of like slow-mo. So it kind of looked like something had paused and was buffering, but I think it was a stylistic choice.
Like, totally honest here, I was not paying all that much attention to this dance number because I also did not like it.
Yeah, it was very boring. I actually kept fixating on the buffering thing. I was like, when's it going to happen again? Because I was not interested.
Yeah, it's not Glee's best. It's like a very just bland cover. It was on my Glee playlist, but I often skip it.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, it's important. Then, before they do the kiss scene, Finn is starting to put on the makeup, and then the boys like come out of the stalls, like both at the same time, which... Okay.
The two
Karofsky, evil bullies.
That's what happened.
They're like, any boy who wears makeup is gay, but we time our poops so we get to poop together.
Exactly.
And that is normal and straight.
We flush and open the stalls at the exact same time. Some people call it choreography. We call it timing. Yeah, I hated the line of, like, I think Krofsky was the one who said it was like, saying, do you have a fin pull or whatever? I was like, oh, that's bad. That's not even a good pun.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, you're putting on makeup? And they're like, being in show choir has made you, like, extra gay, and, like, just because you like football and show tunes doesn't make you versatile. It makes you bisexual.
And I actually kind of laughed at that.
And
that made me
it was funny, and I was like, fanfic writers away. And it's definitely, though, in a world where I feel like there's a lot more bottom and top jokes, the line versatile was also like...
It doesn't age well. Not the way they wanted it to. Joke's on you, Ryan Murphy.
So Finn is all extra cagey about stuff, which we'll get to in my favorite storyline. And the boys sing Kiss, they sing Shout It Out Loud. Was it a medley or was it just Shout It Out Loud? I'm not familiar enough with Kiss's music.
It was just the one.
Well,
I'm
not that...
To be fair, all of Kiss songs pretty much sound the same, so like it honestly could have been a medley and I didn't even know.
While I'm not that familiar with Kiss's music, I do know that there is
Are they from Michigan?
Are they?
I think
so. So is Bob Seger, and I'm not that into Bob Seger.
You're not.
What do you think?
Bob
We just
Seger?
Follow people that are from our original states? Why?
I don't know. I just thought that would be an interesting fact.
Fun facts. Hannah's fun fact corner.
Kiss, Michigan. I'm not.
Here's a fun fact about Kiss. There is a Scooby-Doo movie, an animated Scooby-Doo movie, where they solve a mystery with Kiss's help, and Kiss are interdimensional, like, alien crime fighters that have, like, Sailor Moon-esque transformation sequences.
Yes! I have never seen this, but it is totally on my list now.
Oh.
It just exists. That's just a thing that's out there.
I thought they did start in Michigan, but they got started in New York City. Lame.
New York.
Exactly.
which we'll get to later in this podcast. Yeah, so they sing Kiss and they talk about the personas behind all the different players and the band that they're playing. Yeah, it's fine, I guess. And Rachel shows up in a new outfit sewn by her biological mother, which we'll get to.
Wait, we are moving too quickly from Kiss.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about Kiss. Puck calls his lipstick whore lips, and Shu says nothing. Yet again, just letting this happen.
Yeah.
What else?
How about the fact that the only person I could tell apart was Artie because he was in a wheelchair. I could not figure out who was who.
Really?
Also,
really?
They did not do really well with what's his name? Not the guy who doesn't ever have lines but had a line this time. Matt. The guy who got spiders in his ear that one time. In like a side plot.
Have we seen that yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
He was just gone for a week, and they said he had spiders in his ear.
Yeah, and then I have now latched on to that. But yeah, no, like, they did not do a good job, like, with his makeup. Like, I think that person's makeup, like, I would have to look at the pictures. I don't think it's, like, that eccentric anyway. But it kind of looked like he was the last person in the makeup chair, and they literally, like, you have 10 minutes. So it was, like, really, like, no finesse.
That legit could have happened.
Artie and Puck and Finn, and then the other two just like slapped it on.
Oh, it's like the white males have more storylines and screen time.
Yeah, and have a lot more dedication in the makeup chair. Absolutely. I did actually appreciate, though I can't believe that this wasn't a thing that they brought up, considering like all of the anti-costume stuff they've had in the past, but Puck is wearing heels. Like, he's wearing high heel boots. Like,
I did not notice that.
And like, he says nothing about it, and he just fucking rocks them.
He rocks it, yeah.
Okay, those are his whore lips.
The reason I probably
said that whore lips. I was like, I'm like, Shu, you're not gonna do anything? Nope. Okay, that's fine.
Shu probably uses the term himself.
The reason I probably didn't even notice that he was wearing the high heels is because I couldn't figure out who anyone was.
Yeah.
I used to have like boots with a little heel in them, and they felt so cool to walk around in.
You're already so tall.
Cullen's corner.
And you just like clop on the ground, and you just felt like important.
I mean, like, cowboy boots have a good amount of heel.
Yeah, like I felt like a cowboy or a prince or something, like striding along.
Or a prince.
Yeah.
That's
they were
very on
the two genders.
On brand.
Cowboy.
The two genders. Yes. Yeehonk.
No, ow. Okay.
Shout out to a meme that was like, what does a clown cowboy say? Yeehonk.
I literally hate it and love it so much.
Yeah, so later on, we suddenly get some Puck and Quinn time where Puck is all... Because Puck earlier wants to name their baby Jack Daniels, and she's like, our baby's a girl, and I'm giving her up for adoption. And he's like, what about Jackie Daniels? And then he decides he's like, we should name her Beth. And he sings a song by Kiss, Beth, with the boys as like a slow acoustic song. That song, I was like, this song is basically Saturdays Are for the Boys, the song.
Yeah, it was not a good song. It was more like, if you want to name your kid something pretty, I'm sure there's another way to go about it than singing a song about how, sorry, I can't be home because I'm with the guys.
We'll be playing all night. I mean, I like the name Beth, but like...
Beth is my mother's name. I have nothing against the name Beth.
But was she named after the song by Kiss?
I have no idea. Probably not, considering they didn't exist yet.
Yeah. Fun fact.
Oh, I have a note very similar to that later. Anyway, yeah, no, I was on Tumblr when that song was happening because I knew it was gonna happen. I was like, yep, this is where I check out for a minute and a half.
I'm out.
Which is always bad because the musical numbers are supposed to be like the highlight, like the thing that excites you.
I did not like any of them.
There's gotta be a song out there that's about a girl and they sing her name and it's like a nice song.
Roxanne. No.
Wow.
Yes. Yes, we need more police. That's what we need. Yes,
My baby cousin used to love singing that in Rock Band. She was like 8. You don't have to put on the red light.
Oh my god, that's so good. That's in the Gleeboot. That's the song they sing instead.
And it is sung by someone's baby cousin.
And they are playing Rock Band.
They are, yes. Write it down, baby. It's going in the Gleeboot. Yeah, so then the Tina storyline concludes with she appears in the school in the middle of the night and scares Figgins in her vampire getup, and she's like, I am a vampire, and my dad is the king of the vampires, and Asian vampires are the scariest vampires of all because we can't have a scene with Tina without making an Asian joke. And she's like, if you won't let me wear what I want, I will sneak into your house and eat your face off. Now I have to leave because the sun is burning my eyes. And she disappears, or she like leaves, and then he's like lets her wear whatever she wants.
I actually really like this scene for no reason except for that Tina was a badass.
It's a fun scene.
I think it was the only proper ending to the fucking bananas beginning of that storyline. That like it started with reference to like Twilight fever, and that Figgins may or may not like believe that vampires are real. Like that's the only way it could have ended. There's no other ending. It's staying in the Gleeboot.
It's staying in the Gleeboot, maybe with a Kristen Stewart cameo.
Also, there was a Kristen Stewart line. Someone was like, "My mom thinks she's kind of a bitch." I think that was when
Tina's like, my mom won't let me watch Twilight. She thinks Kristen Stewart looks kind of like a bitch.
And I laughed really hard at that. I don't know why. That was really good.
Yeah, again, some quality one-liners in this episode. Yeah, very theatrical of them.
They're really, really relying on line reads to carry this episode.
Glee's gonna rely on line reads to carry a series. It's like musical numbers and line reads. Yeah, so that's Tina's storyline. Let's get into the curtain fin stuff. The furt of it all. The farty.
No, that's a totally different set.
I know, but I feel...
I hope they do have something happen where they like become really close friends, because I just want to say farty like the whole episode.
So then farty, he's making out and...
oh my god.
Oh, we can read fan fiction. Farty fan fiction. I'm sure it's out there.
We should have a fanfic special.
Yeah, we should. Yes. When we get a bunch
listeners,
of listeners,
let us know if you want that.
Your favorite fanfics, and there has to be some farty fanfics in there too. Get on Wattpad. Send us your shit.
Get on Archive of Our Own. Get on fanfic.net.
Are we putting any limitations on this?
No. The sky's the limit.
Wow.
It's 2020 now. There are no limits. White Claw exists. There are no laws.
And during that episode, we will all be drinking White Claws.
Yes.
I'm horrified.
Well,
yeah,
I've
read.
This is definitely the show and podcast for you to be horrified.
I read some pretty disturbing Glee fanfic by accident once.
Oh, really? By accident?
Yeah. I started reading it and I was like, this is kind of weird. And then like next thing I knew, there was a penis being described as like a threeber-meber or something gross. And I was like, yeah. It was about like it throbbing, and I was like, "Oh no, this is not where I saw this going."
Oh wow! Wow!
Yeah.
I can't wait for that episode.
So
Did you finish it or
no?
Oh, okay.
I was like,
You didn't
this is
finish
my
it?
eyes.
Never get this imaginary image out of my brain.
It's really the imaginary image of those words, like this.
You didn't actually picture the throbbing penis?
I just pictured those words, and I was like, ugh, gross enough.
Okay.
Yeah. So, speaking of uncomfortable, Bert and Carol, Finn and Kurt's respective parents, are moving in together. Has Finn blindfolded, or not blindfolded, she's covering his eyes. She's walking him in a basement. He's like, it's a surprise. Is there a new car for me? And she's like, we're inside. And he's like, oh, yeah.
Great.
And then it's like, surprise, we're moving in together. And Finn is all like, he's not okay with it because it's change. And Kurt, like, has like crudité and all this stuff prepared. He's so excited. And they're going to share a room together. And he's like, I'm not okay with that. And Kurt's like, I know, because my gray aesthetic totally clashes with your skin tone. And Bert gives him $300 to redecorate, which Kurt snatches up. And everyone's like, this will end well. And I'm like, why is everyone a stupid?
Yeah. So, okay. So first off, Kurt says, like, he has, like, this great Dior gray, like, motif in his room. And I'm like, it doesn't go with Finn's skin tone. I was like, in what world does it also go in with Kurt's skin tone instead? I'm like, there's, like, literally no way he can also pull that off. I'm like, it's washing him out. Get rid of it. And then, like, Kurt has like a slip of the tongue where he's kind of like, oh yeah, like, I'm gonna take this money and, like, basically, like, make you into what I want you to be. And then he has to correct himself and, like, who you want to be. And I'm like, I saw this coming the last time we had this problem a few episodes ago, and super uncomfy. Very, very uncomfy.
I have to say that when I first watched this scene, it was so bizarre to me. I literally thought it was a dream sequence. Like, it was Finn's nightmare.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, it
was real weird.
I could totally see that.
Because no one would ever, like, I love Finn's mom to bits because typically she's a really good character. This was a bad move on her part. No one would ever move into like a place that they were gonna go to and not tell their child first. And not talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, especially when they just started dating.
Yeah.
And Finn's a sophomore in high school, so honestly, 2 years from now, he's going to college. So, like, you could easily be like, maybe we'll just date and see how it is, and then maybe when the kids go to college, we'll move in together. Like,
yeah. And I'm sure that this has happened in real life before, and, like, I'm not saying this situation has never existed. But from what we've seen so far with the relationship between Finn and his mom and Bert and Kurt, it's just unrealistic to the max.
I mean, I definitely think it could happen because, like, they're moving really fast and they're obviously, like, really in love with each other and they want to, like, start their family together, essentially, which, like, I totally understand. But I totally agree with you that, like, rather than start this whole thing with a party, which, like Finn's mom is very grounded almost all the time that we've seen her. So, like, this literally felt like too much of, like, that means Kurt knew about it before Finn did, and Kurt's like, oh my god, this is gonna be great, we're gonna have a party to tell him. And it's like, there's no way that Carol would really be on board with that. Like, that seems crazy.
No, I don't think so.
Especially considering how on edge she was when they just started dating.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, the whole thing with, like, his dad's chair, like, at what has made her think that, like, this is the right way to do that? Yeah, it feels very out of character.
Yeah. So he's gonna try and Kurt's gonna remodel their bedroom. And then we talked about like Finn not wanting to do the Lady Gaga stuff and being bullied at school, and Kurt being bullied pretty intensely, and they threaten Kurt that like next time they see him they're gonna like beat him down. And it is pretty scary. And then he's asking Finn, oh, could you tell them to lay off? And Finn's like, it's hard enough for me right now. Like,
and this is the scene where this has just happened after the boys did the kiss thing.
Kiss number, yeah, because Finn is taking off his makeup. Because Finn's like, people already think that we're boyfriends. And I was like, who? But okay. And then he's like, oh, you're such a boy. You're never going to get that makeup off with cotton ball. Like, here's a moist towelette. And he's all like, don't touch me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kurt literally was like, let them think what they want to think.
Yeah. And Kurt goes in with the moist towelette. And let me tell you, that is a no.
Yeah. Like,
no.
Like, the thing is that Kurt knows that Finn's really uncomfortable, not even just like with having moved into this guy's house and into his room, but like Kurt knows. I feel like Kurt has to know that Finn is uncomfortable with his like effeminate nature. Like Kurt has to know, like Finn has to know, or Kurt has to know that Finn feels this way because he didn't want to do Gaga. He's complained about having to do girl stuff, quote unquote, before that. Like, so, like, I'm kind of having a hard time figuring out who I'm supposed to be rooting for in the situation because both of them are just, like, have no idea what's happening with the other, and it kind of feels like I'm the protagonist in this situation. Like, it feels like my needs are the ones that I'm trying to figure out and root for.
Well, I think they're in some ways it's realistic because they're both they're teenagers and they have very flawed, immature, extreme reactions and motivations. They're very selfish. I mean, I think people in general, but especially teenagers, are very selfish. So they're not really thinking about the other person's feelings. They're only thinking of their own feelings, which are like so big and so loud and hormonal. So I think that's realistic. We'll just get to how this... Well, let's talk about the next scene.
I have like another question is that like, so they start the storyline with, hey, we're moving in and then we're going to remodel your room. And then the next thing we know, they have actually moved in. There was like no closure with Finn and his bedroom and his house and his furniture and stuff. Like there's no closure with that. And
there's also no furniture.
Yeah.
He doesn't bring any of it with him. Well,
that's the thing is like that could be like his bed that's in there, but I wouldn't know because like there's been no like actual moving scene. Like there's no closure, and it felt very strange. Like I actually thought like when they were doing like him take off the makeup, I thought that like, oh, they're just visiting, but then I'm like, no, that wouldn't make sense. Like why would Finn be there then if they're just visiting? So yeah, I don't know. It felt very strange and rushed.
Yeah, it felt like the writers wanted this next scene to happen.
Yeah.
So they jumped ahead several steps to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this scene from my teenage days.
It's kind of weird how much I remembered from it. That it was almost like step by step I remembered it.
I have never seen this scene before.
I guess we should talk about the scene. So Kurt remodels their room based on like a Marlene Dietrich movie that's like Moroccan Summer or something. And he's all like, I have a privacy partition. And Kurt's all like, and Finn's like, I'm not changing in front of you. Like, I put my underwear on after the shower because I'm not changing in front of you. Like, I don't want you. I see the way you're looking at me. And he's like, oh, I've accepted who you are. And he's like, no, you haven't. And then he's like, well, what can I do to make you more comfortable? And then he's like, let's get rid of this effing, but not effing, the other F word, lamp and couch and stuff. And then Bert comes down as
slur for homosexuals.
Yes. And then Bert comes down and is like, what did you just say? Should we unpack the first half of this scene? and then get to the next, or are we gonna unpack it all at once?
I think there's a few phases to unpack, really, because like
Yes.
before Finn even starts like freaking out, there's the introduction to the whole new space, which again gets to my point of like Kurt was super selfish, as like you're saying, like obviously these are teenagers and like they don't really think, so like he was really selfish in transforming this into like, I don't even know, like it looks like something out of, you know what it reminded me? It reminded me of the Arabian Nights or whatever it is from Smash.
Smash.
It reminded me of that. But like it was totally just some facade that Kurt had put together and did not put any thought of what Finn wanted into it.
He should have known better.
Exactly. And then pushed Finn right into this after he had already expressed being uncomfortable about stuff, like in the scene previous. So there's all that, and like Kurt being like affronted, being like, I don't understand, like we can change the room, and like him sort of like victimizing himself about the decor and not trying to take Finn's feelings of like having moved from his house and all these other changes happening to him without his consent, essentially.
It almost feels like Kurt purposely sabotaged redesigning the room because he would rather have a confrontation about design than Finn's actual feelings.
That's interesting.
Ooh, complex.
That's
I think maybe a little too complex for Glee.
Yeah.
But
maybe not for the Gleeboot.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, I think that's like the first phase, and then Finn like starts to like freak out,
Slurring.
and he starts to get honest about how he's feeling. And
I do just want to say real quick, I always sympathize with Finn at certain points in this scene when I was a kid and I saw it, and it makes me feel good because then I'm like, am I just like a horrible straight person? And then it just makes me feel good that you guys also understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, like I get that like some of the things that he's uncomfortable about are really just like closed-mindedness about a straight man being able to be friends with a homosexual man. Like that's really what it comes down to, which is a big friction between them anyhow.
But at the same time,
there's like the crush element.
Yeah, because we already know.
So
we already know that Kurt is attracted to him from previous episodes,
and he set the parents up for this reason.
Yes, and it's very, very awkward. I mean, can you imagine, like, as a straight person, someone of the opposite gender setting this up and living in the same room together and like being physically attracted to you? It's totally creepy.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Absolutely,
that Kurt is doing. Like it's very, very creepy, and it's not because he's gay. It's because he's
selfish.
He's being selfish.
So
and wants it's
manipulative.
Yeah.
This came up when this whole saga started a few episodes back, and I said something that's been like, and I think I may have been projecting what I remember from this scene onto that, but now it really is very clear that like it is very manipulative. Everything that Kurt has done to get their parents together, to try to get like them to move in together, because he kind of already did a sort of design thing about his room a few episodes ago, and like
he's been planning it.
Yes, so it's very manipulative. So I understand. That's where I'm having a really hard time figuring out who I'm supposed to root for, because obviously I feel really bad for Kurt because he does have this unrequited crush, and I definitely feel for that, but the way it's being handled is very manipulative. And then I flip when Finn starts to use derogatory language about this whole situation as he is trying to express his feelings, but obviously he's expressing them at Kurt and to hurt Kurt, and then like this is where I'm conflicted, but not in like a, oh, this is very complex. This is like, this is all really fucked up, and I don't
Well,
know how I feel.
one of the interesting things about this, I think, is when you're thinking about this situation, Kurt has been planning this
Yes.
for a long time.
It's been
and
at least a couple months, right?
Yeah, and he's not. It's almost like, what's worse? This is going to be totally off the rails here. I apologize, but I'm gonna compare this, even though it really shouldn't be compared. Premeditated murder, or
Of course, Alyssa goes to murder.
well, I'm just saying.
No, but it's a good point. Keep going.
Premeditation, or the other one that I can't remember
Passion?
the name of. Yes,
Yeah,
a crime of passion. They're both equally bad, but is there like something to be, yeah, for planning it, or just because your emotions get a hold of you? It's like, it's almost like apples and oranges, but at the same time, they're both rotten, so you're gonna throw them both out.
What a line.
Yeah, like this whole thing is really, really fucked up because, like, it has been planned. Like, it makes me also kind of think that part of the Bert-Carol relationship, I mean, obviously, like, they took it on their own and, like, made it a thing, but it started as a thing because Kurt wanted to happen. Then he and Finn tried to plan to get them to break up and all that. So, like, the whole setup was very selfish for Kurt's wanting to be near Finn because he had a crush on him. And
it's almost like stalkery.
Yeah,
it's like to that point.
He did stand outside Finn's house and watch his dad and Finn watch football. That was eerie. But yeah, so then like the last part of this, or one of the last parts of it, is Finn using the derogatory language, and then Bert coming in and literally being like, if this costs me your mom, so be it, but get out of my house because you will not speak about my son or any other people like him using this language or in a derogatory manner. Get out.
And yeah, because Finn's all like, I didn't mean it that way, and he's like, I know exactly the way you meant it.
Yeah, and then Kurt was like, I didn't take it that way, and Bert's like, that doesn't matter. Because, like, he's like, I know the intention that he had with it.
Yeah. I'm going to be totally honest here. I'm pretty sure Finn did mean it that way when he said it.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he was, like, defending himself, which is fine, whatever, defend yourself. But heat of the moment, you're mad at this particular person, and you know specific things about him that are really going to hurt him. And yes, you meant it that way.
He did.
Yeah, and part of their whole conversation was, I'm uncomfortable being around you and, like, being myself because you're gay and I know you have a crush on me. Like, so, like,
which is,
how can
that
you
is
be,
a
like,
fine thing. I am glad that you expressed your emotions in that way. That's it. Stop. You stop there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Don't use the language that you know is gonna, like, you know, you're doing it to hurt him. Like, yeah. So, like, he's obviously defending himself in the moment, but, like, he definitely meant it. But also Kurt was like, I thought you were different. And I'm like, did you? Like, you know, the people that he, like, hangs out with at school. I don't know.
Finn is nicer, but that doesn't mean he's not problematic.
Exactly.
We're all problematic in our own ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, when Kurt was actually, like, speaking that line, it took me a minute to figure out he was talking about Finn being, like, accepting of homosexuals. I thought he was saying that he thought Finn would be attracted to him.
Oh, interesting.
Which I'm not sure if that was meant specifically or not by the writers, but it was something that just sort of like popped up in the moment where I was like, maybe that's what Kurt actually is considering, like, is different about Finn, or what he wants Finn, like how he wants Finn to be different.
Right. That's interesting. I don't know. It could be. I mean, but then again, are we giving the writers too much?
Yeah, I think it's a little too deep for Glee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's maybe in the Gleeboot.
Second time.
Second time.
Okay.
Yeah. So Bert kicks Finn out of the house, and I think this, because they just moved in together, I assume he just could go back to his old house.
Yeah, where did he go?
I assume back to his old house.
We don't even know.
We don't know. But this is where I always took an issue with, because at first you're like, I stand with Bert defending his son. Then I'm always like, it's never a good idea to kick a minor out of the house.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, they are still teenagers, and like you're legally responsible for that kid's well-being. So if he doesn't have a well-balanced meal, like you can be reported to child services. So, like, I don't know, just like watching, just like, so I remember in college I had to be like safe trained, which was like about like safety on campus, but like making campus like a safe space for LGBT people. And we had to like basically simulate our families like rejecting us. It was a little traumatic. I don't know how I feel about this exercise, but like we had to like cut off, like, imagine losing your hopes and dreams in your community and killing yourself and like all this stuff. And so like the idea, like, so we had to simulate being thrown out. And so because of that, whenever I see like I just have a heart for when it's like, it happens a lot to LGBT teens, but to any teens when they're like thrown out of their house. Cause like imagining like, how are you going to fend for yourself when you're
like
a teenager?
Quinn.
Yeah. Like Quinn, like they're kind of glossing it over. That's why I'm like, how does she get this costume? But like,
yeah, it took
Quinn,
we're like, where is she staying? We're like, maybe at Puck's house?
yeah, it's just, it's not easy to just like root up your life and move, especially when you're a teenager and it's hard enough to get a part-time job at a store.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So it was just for a night, but I was still kind of like, considering the intensity of the situation, maybe send him home with his mother for a night, or I don't know. Like,
it did feel, I don't want to say, it felt extreme in that, like, I'm surprised he was like, you can't live here, rather than you can't be here right now. You need to get out, think about what you've done, and then maybe we could revisit this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
yeah.
valid. Yeah, it was really like, kind of like, you can't stay here, like you're not allowed to live here, this is gonna cost me your mom, kind of thing. When really, yeah, it's like leave the house, go somewhere, and we'll talk about this later. I don't know. I guess like for like the drama of it all, I guess the leave my house was more dramatic, but yeah.
So we got through that scene. Okay.
But when you talk about the button line where his dad is like, the place looks great, and I literally cackled. I was like, that was a great lift to that very heavy scene.
Okay. We made it. The next scene in this storyline is the bullies have cornered Kurt. They're going to beat him up. And Finn shows up in a Lady Gaga dress and is like, take your hands off him. Like, have to go through me first. And they're like, well, there's two of us and one of you. And I think we can take both you guys. And then the entire Glee Club shows up and all their like wild costumes. And they're like, oh, the freak show's in town. The freak bees, worker bees are defending the queen freak.
Which isn't even
there'll be
clever.
Another time. Well, yeah, they're not clever. There'll be another time where we catch you alone. And they like leave, and Will, who did not know what the lesson was this week, because he was they're like,
I was like, so my roommate at that point was watching with me, And when they were like, oh, like, what was the lesson this week? And she's like, I don't know. And then this happens, and he shows up after the bullies leave and threaten them, and like slow clap for the kids. And then
where were you hiding? Like,
and then he was like, yeah, I still didn't know what the lesson is, but maybe now I figured it out. And I'm like, shoo, it's only okay when we're the only ones who know that you're a bad teacher. When you admit that you're a bad teacher, it's really uncomfortable. So yeah, I was so mad.
can we talk about Finn's costume?
Yes. All day.
I loved it.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was actually one of the best Gaga costumes they did.
Like someone like his age could have made that. Like it wasn't super great, but it was like put enough together. It was like, okay, this is a costume. Like
he said it was a shower curtain.
And I'm like, that's great. He learned to sew. Come on, Rachel.
I have no idea where he got that, but it was amazing. And I'm not gonna lie, this was probably the costume that I've been most attracted to him in any of the episodes.
Oh.
Isn't that weird?
Oh. We're just covering a lot about Alyssa this episode.
I love this. I love it. I love it.
I don't know. It was so... I'm not sure. Maybe it was just like, this is Finn in all of his glory.
It did give him very broad shoulders.
It did. Yeah. Much broader shoulders, like more like
the ruffles on his
like
neck.
Not sunken in eyes, but like his eye shape was.
She's doing a popping gesture right now.
Accentuated.
Yeah, I mean,
I was trying to think of the word.
Gems around his eyes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very strange, but I loved it.
It was, yeah. It was great. Here's a Gaga thing that I remembered. Okay, because Puck doesn't know who Gaga is, but he knows who David Bowie is. And I do love David Bowie, but I definitely knew who Lady Gaga was before I knew who David Bowie was. Just saying.
Yeah, that whole thing is just an enigma to me. I don't even understand what Puck could be talking about. I think Puck secretly loves Lady Gaga, but has a front and can't like admit that he likes Gaga. That should be.
Or he's 45.
Or he's 45. Oh, uncomfy.
Yeah.
He's like 30 years old.
Yeah, that actor was like 32, I think.
He was like the oldest one, I think, right?
Yeah, and you can tell.
Yeah, he had wrinkles.
Yeah, compared with Kurt, who's actually 18. He was the youngest, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's why he looks a lot like a real teenager.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So that's the end of those storylines. Now we just have Rachel finding her mother. So Rachel has been spying on Vocal Adrenaline, and she sneaks in to spy with Mercedes and Quinn, which is like a fun trio of characters. Yeah, I'm like how did these three decide to go together?
Exactly. I was like, I want to see that conversation in which Rachel immediately is like, well, I need someone to go with. And Mercedes is like, okay, like, I'll drive you. Like, I have a car. Like, I don't want you to have to go by yourself. And then Quinn's like, oh, I have to see this. Like, that's what I think happened. I want that conversation, though.
I'm like, I'm here for this friendship group. Like, it's got to be a fun dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they sneak in, and she sees them doing Lady Gaga. They're just dancing to instrumental music, but they're in, like, these giant red face covering.
Or are you just, like, counting?
I don't remember.
I think it's instrumental.
Later.
Okay.
But
yeah, there's just counting.
Terrifying looking.
Yeah, and then she's all like, "It's not about the costumes. We're letting the costumes do all the work." She isn't Shelby Corcoran, their coach of Vocal Adrenaline. You're letting the costumes do all the work. You have to be theatrical. Let me show you how. And she sings "Funny Girl," and before she even starts, Leah is like, oh, "She's so good." Not Leah. Leah Michelle, Rachel. Rachel is like, she's so good. Like, this is exactly the song I would pick. Like, she's amazing. And then she hears the voice.
And she's like, it's Barbara. I could do it in my sleep. I was like, oh, Rachel.
And she recognizes the voice from the tape.
Oh, I totally missed that.
Oh my god, me too.
I understand.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I literally just bought into it because it's called Theatricality, and this whole thing is just very theatrical because there's a mirror on the stage for their Lady Gaga number, and I'm really confused as to why that's there, but it's there and it works for her number. I just bought into it. I totally forgot about the tape thing.
I full on just thought that Rachel heard her and like saw her and was just like, that is my mother.
She felt it in her blood.
She
felt it.
I know it.
Yep.
Wow, we are
smart.
We are romantics, aren't we?
Oh yes, that's exactly it. We just believe everything. We'll just buy right into it. We're so wow. I think I've swapped roles then. Because you're normally
with
like,
Cullen.
yeah, no, this is great.
Me.
Like, I could buy into this. And I'm like, absolutely not.
And now I'm like, oh, this practical reason is why this happened.
And you're like,
I
get it. Wow. Yeah, no. The tape. Got it.
Yeah. So she theatrically slowly walks down the aisle while she sings, and as Idina Menzel finishes singing Funny Girl, Rachel is just like, Miss Corcoran, I'm Rachel Berry. I'm your daughter.
I literally laughed really hard because I was like, literally only in the episode called Theatricality, during a number about embracing theatricality, could Rachel just like introduce herself to Shelby without so much as a DNA test in front of her with so much confidence. I was like, yeah, that's what's happening right now. Like, Shelby just bought right into it too. She's like, yeah, I'm singing Barbara right now.
Well, because she had known Rachel was her daughter.
Yeah. But like the fact that like Rachel would have this moment, literally be like, I'm your daughter, would just, without having any other proof, she's just like, yep. Only in
well, now we know. Now we know that she heard the voice.
Yeah,
yes.
But like the line itself is just so theatrical.
Dramatic. Yeah.
It's so theatrical, and I'm like, only in this episode would I be like, yep, absolutely, 100%.
They're even theatrically discussing it like 4 seats apart, like a row diagonal, and they comment on it.
I know. I full on was like, what is this scene? Why are they not facing each other? And then they said something about it, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Ryan Murphy was like, I'm so smart. This blocking is so good. Like, yeah, because that's what the whole thing was.
Because Rachel's like, we share the same dramatic way of speaking, because Shelby Corcoran says something about, it's like the wound of the Fisher King, a broken promise. She's like, we share the same dramatic way of viewing the world. Even the way we're talking right now, or the way we're sitting, is so theatrical, but it feels so natural and right. Yeah. And so she's asking, like, do you regret giving me up? And they're just going through like a typical estranged child parent meeting thing. And then Rachel is like, I can't tell if I'm sad or if I'm thirsty, because whenever I was sad, my dad would bring me a cup of water. And so now I can't tell when I'm sad or I'm thirsty. And I thought that was really cute. Mm-hmm. And then Idina Menzel, Shelby Corcoran, is suddenly just like, I can't do this. I thought I could. This feels wrong. This feels bad. It was supposed to feel great. And I'm like, grow up. Not everything good feels great. Mm-hmm. And then she just leaves.
It was real weird.
I wonder if it was like the mention of like a childhood memory and like her dad's that really just kind of made her be like, oh, like this isn't.
Well, it was. It was, because she says that later.
Yeah, and so I was like, that sucks, but also like, this is.
You should have known. Like, yeah, like you should have known everything before you decided that you wanted to contact her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you should have thought that through.
I I don't even remember when the moment with Shu happened, but like even though it was Shu and I was upset that he had to like scold her, I was also like, I guess he's really the only person who could do this. It actually would have been kind of interesting if it was like Quinn or Mercedes who had confronted her, though. That could have been kind of cool. But I was like, logically, I guess she was really the only one because he also does know Shelby. It was kind
and
of
also
annoying,
he's an
but
adult.
like, okay, yeah, it was like okay logically, but I'm also like, I hate that it's him.
Yeah, I would have loved if it was Quinn though, because of the adoption thing that she wants to give her baby up.
Yeah,
that would have been good.
I'm gonna be in this situation, that sort of thing. So that would have been an interesting thing to see.
Yeah, because so that basically,
so many possibilities.
So many possibilities for the Gleeboot. So basically, what happens is, so there's this scene. Then she shows up at the next vocal adrenaline performance after Shelby Corcoran is like, "Don't complain about chafing because you're wearing metal underwear," and I'm like, "That's not conducive to dancing." But Rachel shows up and she's like, "You can't keep spying on these practices," and she shows her Beanie Baby dress and is like, my dad can't sew, and I'm like, so she can't, like, it's a little dated to just assume all women can sew and all men can't.
Oh boy, I just about flipped a gasket. I was just like,
okay,
wait, flipped a switch, blew a gasket.
He flipped a gasket.
She was that mad.
So you guys thought it was because she was like, I need a mom, aka a woman, so she goes to her mom for the sewing.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was because she was a theater person and that she knew how to sew, which is why I was also like, Rachel's a theater person, why doesn't she also know how to sew?
Do theater people all know how to sew?
No, but I thought like
Shelby,
I don't know. That's how I read it. That I'm like, okay, like she was like a theater person. She was also like that super ambitious type that like that's why I expected like Rachel to know how to sew. Like of course like Shelby would know how to sew. So like maybe that's how Rachel's gonna get it. But yeah, I didn't take it the woman way. I did not like the line of like, I just need my mom right now, and I was like, okay, like you don't know this woman.
You've been your whole life without a mom. I think you're fine.
Great.
Also, the fact that she like straight up said "mom?" question mark.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's awkward.
Her mom, right?
Yeah,
that was uncomfy.
Very awkward.
Yeah, because she's like, I don't have a mom to sew it, and my dad can't sew. And it's just like, yes, I mean, my mother could sew.
My mother cannot sew. My mother cannot cook. My mother can clean. She's really, really good at cleaning.
Okay.
Just if we're talking about like normal, quote unquote, women things that women are supposed to do. But 2 out of 3, she can't. I love her to death. She's the best.
Yeah, it's...
Shout out to Beth.
Shout out to Beth. She is great. I've met Alyssa's mom. We all have.
With her. She's very professional on set.
Yeah. If you want to,
mom's great.
If you want to see a video with her, it's on a random tarot blog.
Oh my lord!
Oh my god! I should make a post about that.
You should.
Yes!
We're both in the video.
Yeah,
we're all in the video, and then you all will be able to see our faces from a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, because you're in it.
I am. I'm in it.
You wrote, directed, and starred.
I did. Well, I didn't star. I'm like a minor character.
You're in it.
You appeared. You had a cameo. Sort of.
Yeah. Yeah.
My mother starred.
Your mother was the star, and we love her. And even though she can't sew, because not all women need to sew.
Not all women sew. # not all women.
Not all women. Breaking feminist discourse that's happening on Gleeboot. Yeah. So then she makes a better costume for Rachel, and she's all like, my mom made it. And because Mercedes tells everyone, because Mercedes loves to gossip, she's like, Shelby, the coach of Vocal Adrenaline, is Rachel's mom. And they're all like, oh no, Rachel's going to jump ship for her. and she says that Rachel says she doesn't plan on it, and she asked Shelby if she wants to just get dinner and talk about it, which to me seemed like a very mature.
Yeah, and then Shelby like
runs off.
Yeah, she runs away, and I was like, dinner seemed like a good idea.
Like
That's
a normal,
weird.
yeah,
yeah.
But anyways, so Sue was not in this episode. Jane Lynch had the week off. Sue shows up, or like has Shelby come into his office, and this is the scene we were talking about where he is like, Rachel like is fragile, she's talented, she's like you, but she's not hard like you. She's still young and naive, and like you're not ready for a teenage daughter, you want a baby girl. Which I was like, how dare he, like, this really...
He explained all of her feelings without even talking to her about it first. Like, he just, like, assumed all of these things, and they all happened to be right.
I would have much rather one of Rachel's dads had this conversation.
Which we've never met either of them.
No.
We have seen a
not
picture
yet.
of them, I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
But
in the pilot.
That picture ends up being defunct because neither of those people are actually her dads.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So it's just, yeah, it's like not Shu's place at all. But he's talking, and Shelby's like, you're right, this was too fast. And I'm just like, why is everyone on this show so extreme? There could be a version where, because Rachel has two dads, it's not like she was going to move out from her house. It's just like a version where she now has a relationship with her mom, and they sometimes get dinner or write letters. Right. Or, you know, like...
Write letters, yes, they would do that.
They definitely would.
They definitely would. I'm not even going to question it.
Like, just like, oh, this is a relationship with my birth mother. Like, she's not my closest parent, but she's, like, Rachel would have to be reared back because she is someone who jumps into relationships and things head first.
Right.
But you could find a way for it to be normal and healthy, but they're all just like, it's all or nothing, baby.
Well, and I would love to see a relationship with she and her dads, and the fact that she and they both have to deal with the fact that she meets her mother before her 18th birthday, which is before when they wanted her to do it. So,
yeah.
Like, there's a ton of drama here that just really isn't being addressed at all.
Yeah.
They, so then Rachel shows up, or she shows up at Rachel's school, McKinley High, where Rachel is in the auditorium, to say, like, I'm not ready for this. Adina Menzel, Shelby, shows up and is like, I'm not ready for this. We need to, like, I'm not ready for a teenage daughter. I'm not your mom. I'm your mother. I'm not your mom. And because Rachel's like, I should just want to collapse into my mom's arms right now, but I don't. And she's like, because I'm not your mom. I'm your mother. And she's like, I would love to sing with you. And they sing a cover of Poker Face, which is the most maternal love-based song I can think of.
I literally wrote that this is not an appropriate mom-daughter song, and it's almost as inappropriate as when Shu was like dancing up on the students while singing what was it? Girls Scantily Clad Showing Body. Like, it had a similar energy.
Bust a Move.
Yeah. It had a real similar energy because, like, Rachel literally looks lovingly at Shelby.
They do. They look so much like mother and daughter, though.
If it's not rough, it isn't fun. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Can you imagine if they actually sing this song as a mother-daughter song, but, like, at the correct tempo?
Yeah, but also...
I do love how she just summons Brad, the piano guy, and she's like, he's always just around.
And I kind of wish they would have just sung the actual song together. That was a great meta moment. For sure.
I did the same thing.
Watching this part with me, and while Shelby was singing, she goes, "Okay, close your eyes and picture Elsa."
I do want to say also that Rachel Lee Michelle looked very pretty in that song. Like, the dress she was wearing, I was like, very pretty.
I have a question, though. Do you guys not think that Rachel would consistently carry around the song that she has been dreaming of for years that she wants to sing with her mother
She would carry that around.
Yes, she would. And it would not be Poker Face.
What would it be?
I don't know.
Oh my god. She so would. No. Oh my god.
Probably something a little older or
Alyssa,
like classic.
That's genius. Okay, what would it be? It would
Like-
probably be something from a musical. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's Maria and
What's
Liesel
some-
in
what's
Sound
some,
of
like, mother-daughter
Music.
relationships? Like-
Yeah, I'm having trouble think. Well, I don't know a ton of musicals anyway, so
Right.
yeah.
because
All right.
she totally
that's
would
it
have
for our
one.
listeners.
Baby
That's what we
Mine
need
from Dumbo.
for this episode. We're gonna need you
Me
to let us know.
That's
what
such a
you
sad
think
song,
Rachel-
though.
That's
I'm
like
gonna
it's
meet my
close, but
first
it's not
mother
it. Like I
song
don't
is,
love
like,
that choice
duet that
for
they would sing.
where have you been all my life? Yeah. I just feel like it's there.
It doesn't even have to be like a mother-daughter song.
Yeah.
But
Right.
like maybe a song that expresses something that you lose and regain,
Yeah,
or
longing.
some sort of thing like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe even something from Camelot or My Fair Lady or Wicked. This is gonna drive me crazy.
Okay, well, we have too much radio silence right now.
Yeah,
we have to move on.
There's so much thinking happening. Yeah. So, listeners, that's your job. Send us what you think her song would be, because I think that's a really, really great thought. Like, wow.
Yeah. I only have one like Gleeboot. We've talked a lot about reboot ideas, so I just have one Gleeboot question this week. What Lady Gaga song would you have liked them to cover, or would we include in our?
Well, so now obviously her discography is a lot bigger, because then
Yeah.
I think she only had the 2 albums. Maybe
I'm
Applause.
not
I think
Oh.
Applause would be an amazing Glee song for what Glee does.
They do cover Applause later.
Do they? There's no
think.
way. No. Glee was totally off the air by the time that song came out.
No, there's
Yeah.
a Glee cover of Applause. I know that for
There's
certain.
no way. Cullen, I refuse to believe this.
I know what episode it's in.
No, I refuse. I hate it.
She does something terrible right after it.
I am so upset. Cullen, no, that just ruined my life. Okay, wow. I thought the song was way newer than it is, but it's not. I thought it was like way, way newer.
I don't know why.
I'm so upset that they did this. Okay, I'm not even gonna look at anything else about it. I'm so mad. Now
My
I literally
pick-
was just like, I think it'd be a great Glee song, and they're like, they already did it, and I was like, no, they ruined it.
It's not a bad cover. It's a good
Probably-
cover.
It's probably awful. Oh god, I can't. I'm so upset. Okay.
My pick is gonna be Judas. I don't know why, but I just like that song.
It's a good song.
Yeah. I don't know who's gonna sing it yet, but yeah, maybe a new character that's not in the original but is in the Gleeboot. Or Mercedes. Mercedes would sing it so well.
I want them to do Poker Face, but better.
Good.
Yes, because I really like that song, but they really ruined it. Like, it's not good in this scene.
All right. Is it Tina time?
It is. I have a confession to make. I was kind of half counting. But I want you all to know that even though Tina had an entire plot just to herself, she did not have she definitely didn't have more than 15 lines. I'm going to say she had between like 8 and 10 lines.
I think she had 11 because I was counting 2.
Okay.
Does the lyric
10 or 11.
the lyric
Lyrics don't count.
But she did have a single lyric in whatchamacallit.
Bad Romance.
Yeah.
But we didn't count when she sang all of True Colors.
True. But I think we did give her that
are no go.
She sang the song. But wow.
Okay, so should we count it as a point? Should it be 12?
Maybe.
I guess no more than 15 is probably is unfortunately really sad, but probably pretty accurate.
She had an entire plot to herself, and it was like
11 lines.
It was between like 10 and 13 lines approximately.
Oh boy. All right. Up next is let's do our songs. What was your favorite song this week?
I don't think I have one.
I didn't really like any of them. Yeah. But if I have to go with one, I'm probably going to go with the Kiss song just because I like that song. And I like the performance. Even though I could not figure out who anyone was, it was fun.
Yeah, that's really the closest I have because, the rest of them, I'm literally And, even that was kind of a boring version of a Kiss song. So, it was still better than Bad Romance. I could not fathom what Bad Romance was.
Okay, I'm going to say something, and you guys are going to hate me,
really
but my favorite was Poker Face.
No!
Wow.
I love their weird staccato
and
cover
that's
of
the
it.
End of this podcast.
No!
It's canceled.
Poker Face. The way they did it, it was weird, and I like the way they said, face. It was...
Cullen.
No!
Let's go to what our worst songs were. So wait, you really genuinely liked Poker Face?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not I don't listen to that song outside of the episode, but I enjoy I like when they do something different with it, and that's the Glee version, not the Kids Bop version.
Ooh, what's the Kids Bop version sound like?
I don't know.
I really hope Kids Bop has never done Poker Face.
Oh, I'm sure they have.
Oh no!
Sure they've done some pretty raunchy songs and completely tried to scrub them, and it's worse.
I'm horrified.
More nasty.
So, what was your least favorite song, Hannah?
Poker Face.
Poker Face. Alyssa?
I am between Poker Face and what is it, Beth?
Yeah, that's what I was too.
I think I'm gonna go with Poker Face though, because it was just not good.
I'm going with Beth because the song is boring and it didn't fit what it was supposed to do, which was be touching and heartwarming. It was just Saturdays are for the boys, Beth. And then Quinn is I'm naming my daughter after this trash song. And I'm Quinn is smarter.
No, she's naming her daughter after my mother.
Right.
Okay, exactly. That makes more sense.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Who's your least valuable player for the week?
I'm gonna go with Shelby. Mostly because we kind of talked about it, but she essentially used Rachel's feelings, not maliciously, but she didn't really put it into perspective about how essentially manipulating this situation to get her to find her, get her interested in that, was kind of malicious. But yeah, I didn't like the way she handled it, and basically ending it peace. Because even after Poker Face, she was just short of flashing her a peace sign before walking away. So yeah, awkward.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna go with Shelby. She did not handle that like an adult at all, and yeah, just if you're gonna introduce yourself to your kid, why do you expect it to be? She says something this grand reunion of running into each other's arms, and I'm it was pretty darn close dramatic wise, and Rachel's doing her best, so why aren't you?
Right.
Yeah. Shelby is a good pick. just for some spice, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with Kurt. Because
Oh, interesting.
I just really didn't like how all of this manipulation that he has been kind of like nurturing. I don't, that's a bad word, but just like using in the past few episodes has escalated and like come to a head in this episode. And it's just, it was just not, it was kind of circumstance, but it also was just, Kurt, why are you being such a dumbass?
Yeah, being creepy for sure. Yeah, no, that's also a good pick.
Who is your MVP?
Tina. I am so glad that she had this whole plotline to herself, even if it was really discriminatory. And she was definitely a badass at the end. I loved the way it ended. So good for her.
I'm gonna go with Tina too. She is the best vampire ever.
Yeah,
That's
way
it.
better
That's all
than
you need to know.
all the Twilight people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna spice things up. I'm gonna go with Rachel.
Oh, okay.
She did her best to like reunite with her mother. She was dramatic and Rachel about it. She looked great. And she sang a weird cover of Poker Face. And I don't know, I enjoyed her this episode. And I enjoyed her spying around and her off-screen friendship with Quinn and Mercedes.
Yeah, there's definitely something I appreciate about Rachel, like wearing her heart on her sleeve. That's definitely a quality that, like, obviously, like, I don't have, but it's something that definitely gets her into trouble. But it's definitely one of her truest qualities, and I think it's really admirable. So I like that pick.
Yeah.
Yay.
So I guess it's time to. Do you want to plug our social medias?
Wait.
Our
What?
Sony's? What?
I have a story
Oh, yeah.
that doesn't directly relate to anything in this episode.
I love
except
tertiary content.
Yes. I have a terrible memory. We all know this. And I told this story to Cullen a couple days ago. But just in case you all need to understand.
You haven't heard this.
I don't know. We'll find out what story this is.
Just in case you all like don't quite understand how incredibly terrible my memory is.
Did you forget the name of the show?
No. This is worse.
Oh.
I went to dinner with a friend and he was like, "How is that screenplay you're writing?" And I was like, "Which one?" And he goes, "Oh, you know, the one about blah, 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 blah." And he told me the story. And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And he just goes, "You don't remember?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "It's long." And he sent it back to me. I had written a 100-page screenplay that I forgot about.
Which one was this?
It's Lily, and I'm trying to remember what class I wrote it in.
I have no memory of it either.
Which is so
I don't either.
weird.
Because what's strange is that I have a short that's named that. So I was like, oh, she and I definitely would have talked about this, having a script of the same name.
Wait, your short is named that?
Yeah, I have a short named
Oh,
Lily.
okay.
So I'm like, yeah, we definitely would have talked about this.
No, it's like 100 pages, and it's like a drama, and I barely have any memories
is this
about
the
it.
One with the grandma.
Yes, and she
I remember.
Yes, I forgot the whole thing.
That's so
Wow.
funny.
Super bizarre. But yeah, so my memory is great. So when you say when I'm saying like I don't remember something, it's like full on legit, it's gone. Gone.
So funny. I guess I didn't know that was what you had called it, but yeah. No, I remember that story vaguely. That's so funny. I love that. That's terrific.
So that had nothing to do with this episode at all, but there you go, everyone.
Fun fact, Allyssa time.
Yes, Allyssa time. And I guess I unintentionally like plugged a screenplay.
If any Hollywood producers are listening,
Yes.
hit us up at Gleeboot Pod.
Yeah, that's right. I'm supposed to plug at Gleeboot Pod for Twitter and Instagram. I mean, we've got some Instagram followers, but I don't think we have any Twitter followers. So follow us on Twitter, watch our tweets, read our tweets, whatever the lingo is. And then we're also on Tumblr, Gleeboot Pod. Yeah.
Yeah. You can follow me on YouTube at yaboy Ryan, YABOI Ryan, and see my character Ryan. Someone actually thought I was named Ryan today, so it's becoming real. And follow me on Instagram and TikTok at yaboy Ryan99.
I will eventually have some social medias to plug. I do know them, kind of. Eventually, because I do art and stuff too, so that might be kind of fun.
Do you want me to plug it?
Do you know it?
I'm pretty sure it's just a.m.swearingen, Swearingen, right? I think that's it.
Yeah.
My Instagram?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
News to me. There you go. Hannah knows my Instagram.
Well, it's just your initials and your name, so I know things. Okay, I stalk you. No,
boy.
It's your initials and your name. I remember.
Okay, cool.
Cool. And you can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Google Podcasts. So check us out, give us a listen, share it with all your other friends who have been traumatized by Glee or are hoping to watch Glee on Netflix and they want some like verbal company to like analyze episodes with.
I think we're the only Glee like trauma support group. So there you go.
Welcome.
Wow.
Yeah.
We provide trauma support for those who.
Yeah, if you want to talk about anything Glee related or have any comments or questions, like just send them our way. Like message us on Instagram or Tumblr or something. Like we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Like we'll definitely address it. So
yeah, tell us your most favorite and least favorite parts of each episode. We want to hear about it.
Yeah. All right. I think next week we're talking about funk.
We are like 2 away from regionals. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Is that the official end of season 1?
Yeah, I haven't decided, but we're gonna do something special to celebrate the end of season 1.
Okay,
oh my God.
cool.
Yeah. Special.
All right.
All
Thanks
right.
for listening.
Thanks for listening. Peace.
Bye.